Over the past 50 years, Climatech has grown and kept pace with the ever-changing HVAC industry, providing our customers with the best knowledge on the most innovative systems and services.
Serving Lorain and western Cuyahoga counties, Climatech is a full-service heating, air conditioning, and ventilation company. A third-generation, family-owned and operated company providing the most up-to-date level of service and installation with the best quality products.
Today, your comfort demands customized solutions, utilizing best industry practice combined with high-quality, reliable products that protect you and your home.
The HVAC industry will never stand still. It's a commitment to the environment that we learn, train, and produce next-level efficient products and services.
Partnering with Green Sky Financing and our dedicated customer care software allows us to give you the comfort that you need in your home.
Smart products, smart technicians, and dedication to details drive us to deliver highly effective products into your home today and into the future.
It is the 2024 edition of the Climatech Inc. NFL Prediction Show. Cole McDaniel, Vince McKee, we're back for another year, and this is going to be a fun one, Vince. I've been looking forward to it. I'm sure you have been as well. Hard to believe that a good chunk of this year has gone by. Of course, for the time from February to the start of September, not doing this show. I've missed it, but once a week now we're going to have a shortened version of the episodes, but we're still going to get to do the prediction show, which is going to be great.
Welcome back, fans. Welcome back, Cole. Guys, it's so much fun to be back. I am still, as I was telling Cole off air, in full vacation mode here. You can probably see the Rocky t-shirt and just kind of chilling in my basement. My last day here of vacation for my real life job, so definitely all smiles here. And before we get going, got to shout it out immediately here. If you guys notice something a little bit different about Cole, he is now officially a father. So we left you on a bit of a cliffhanger last year. I will let you introduce them to Miles. But yeah, just pretty incredible here as my man, year 5 and you're now a father.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. It's a blessing. Hard to believe he's 6 months old at this point. So time flies, but no, I'm ready to get this thing going. So Vince, absolutely. I know we're going to get things started with Sunday Night Football.
Yep.
And Sunday night, that is the Detroit Lions and the Los Angeles Rams. And I will let you start this off this year.
Playoff rematch between these two teams. Obviously, the history well known with Matthew Stafford on the Lions for all those years, then on the Rams, and now with the Lions, a reborn Jared Goff the last couple seasons. We've seen what they could do. A lot of people have said, and you saw it firsthand, why the Lions would actually be a Super Bowl contender this year. When you go back to that NFC Championship game last year, having a big lead going into the third quarter, everything kind of fell apart against them, against the 49ers. And as you may also remember, fans, it was the Rams in which they beat to even get to that point in the playoffs. I love the Rams. I think they're one of my favorite teams every single year. I always talk about how good I think they are. I think the running back situation this year is pretty incredible. Kyren Williams, really, to me, one of the most underrated tailbacks in the NFL. I think he's going to give them a chance to win every single time. Defense, I'm not sure how the Rams defense is going to be. It's going to be a little revamped, this season yet again. Obviously, anytime you're dealing with Puka Nacua on the offense, Cooper Kupp, Kyren Williams, you have to ask yourself, now with those weapons, can Matthew Stafford stay healthy enough to get them back to the playoffs yet again and make a run? You cannot question the coach. All those things seem to be in the Rams' favor. However, I'll say it again. I started off with this. I'm going to end with this. The Detroit Lions are a Super Bowl contender for a reason. They are solid in every phase of the game, whether it's special teams, defense, offense. They do it all very well. Dan Campbell, a phenomenal coach. I mentioned how I said, Kyren Williams of the Rams is underrated. I say Dan Campbell in a lot of ways is underrated. He knows how to motivate his guys. There was some things last year at the end of the year. Their loss to Dallas, then their loss to the 49ers in the playoffs. I feel like the Lions, hopefully for their sake, have learned from that. And we're going to see an even better Lions team this year that starts off with a win on Sunday night. Official pick, Detroit Lions.
Well, back in May, I believe, would have been when I made my Excel spreadsheet. I went through every NFL game and picked the winner and the loser and came away with my overall predictions for the records for each team. And then I made my playoff predictions as well from that. This is completely opposite ends of the NFL, in my opinion, because I have the Lions with one of the best records in the NFL in the regular season, one of the best records in the NFC. And then I actually have them and the Houston Texans both being 2 seeds and then facing each other in the Super Bowl. And I had the Detroit Lions winning the Super Bowl this year. That's my pick. Obviously, I know a lot of people can say, "Hey, you can't bet against the Kansas City Chiefs," but it's so hard to go back to back, let alone try to three-peat. I just think this is the year that Kansas City's not going to get it done because it's so hard to do it back to back to back. So that being said, it's probably going to be somebody else. The Detroit Lions should definitely be up there in the mix, especially in a weaker NFC. So them, the 49ers, a few other teams really have a good shot on that side. It's a crapshoot on the AFC side. I mean, there's so many good teams. We'll see if the quarterbacks stay healthy this year when there were so many injuries last year. But needless to say, I do think the Lions have a really good shot. I like what they're returning from last year, and then they've added some additional pieces as well. So Detroit, I feel good about them. Los Angeles on the other end, we had this conversation during the draft. I said that the Los Angeles Rams defense was probably the worst defense on paper in the entire NFL. I stand behind that. They got even worse. They just made a trade. I believe, was it Dearness Jones, their linebacker, whoever their best linebacker was, went to the Tennessee Titans here recently. So they're continually losing pieces. Of course, Aaron Donald was their biggest piece that they lost. With losing so many pieces on that defense, I question if they can stop anybody's offense this year. I think they're going to have a hard time doing so. On the other end, can Cooper Kupp stay healthy? How much time does Matthew Stafford have left? My estimation is this is his last year. I don't trust him to have much more left in his arm, especially after we saw his elbow issues the other year. Puka Nacua, he had one really good year, but that was his rookie year. Again, I want to see if he can do it in the second year. I expect a sophomore slump. Maybe he'll still have a good year, but I think it's not going to be quite the same as it was last year. So I see a lot of question marks for me, specifically on the defensive end. They have talent on the offense, but I question kind of what they're doing at running back. My comp for Blake Corum, one of them would be Kyren Williams. And then I said in this draft that Cody Schrader, who, by the way, was an undrafted free agent for the 49ers, they released him, and now he's with the Rams. I said that I thought he was a better Blake Corum. So you literally have Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, and Cody Schrader, who I think are all three the same running back. Similar type of build, similar type of running style. There's literally no diversity in how they run the football. So for me, I don't like the way this Rams team is set up. It's why I think they're going to have one of the worst records in the NFL, probably going to have a top 5 draft pick this upcoming year. So that being said, the Detroit Lions, they should smoke the Rams. I've got this one 38-17.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit closer than that. It's funny you mentioned the draft. As you see me look over a couple times, I have not moved the helmets. So I still have the helmets in the exact order we left them, per division, per our expectations for them. So, yeah, definitely, I feel a little bit stronger about the Rams. As I look over, I had them finishing second ahead of the Seahawks and the Cardinals. But I do recall you saying I think you believe you had them finishing fourth. So your comments on them tonight do not surprise me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've held to it. This might not surprise you either, and we'll see what you think on Monday Night Football, but this could be an interesting matchup. It's the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Jets.
Yep.
The first time that Aaron Rodgers put on a New York Jets uniform, he ran out holding the American flag, and a few plays later, he then tore his Achilles tendon, and then he was out for the year. So we really don't have a highlight tape of Aaron Rodgers in his time with New York. It was a couple plays, and that was it. And then it was just a quarterback carousel for them last year. That being said, they still managed to get more wins than they probably should have with their bad quarterback situation. Garrett Wilson still managed to have 1,000 yards receiving. They have Breece Hall, who's a talented running back. Their defense is one of the best in the NFL. I would say that you got the Browns, the Ravens, the Jets, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, and the 49ers are probably the 6 teams where if you play fantasy football, I would be looking at those defenses for this year because I think they're going to put up points for you. So the thing is, the Jets defense combined with now Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and then the weapons they have on the offensive side, I'm excited to see what the Jets can do. They're intriguing. I'm still not sure about if they can take the top spot in the division. I think people are sleeping on the Bills still. Until the Bills prove otherwise, I'm still thinking that Buffalo might be the team to beat there. Miami gets off to a hot start. They have a tendency to fall apart later, especially when they have to go play in cold weather games. So we'll see what they can do. But it's a 3-horse race really there in that division. That being said, even though I think Aaron Rodgers should stay healthy for most of the season, I think the Jets will be good and they'll have a good showing for most of the year. San Francisco, they should win this game. They are the more complete team. There's less question marks about them. They're coming off of the Super Bowl loss, but they are going to be next to the Lions. Those are probably the 2 teams to beat in the NFC. I expect them to get a good start on Monday night, and that's why I'm going with the 49ers 27-20 in a good game. But San Francisco, they should show why they are the team to beat in the NFC, at least for the last couple years.
Each year we pick nearly 300 games a season. I think it's almost right at that 300 mark if you consider us through the playoffs. I swear to God, I felt like I chased that one New York Jets win the entire season last year on Monday Night Football when they beat Buffalo. That game you just referenced when Aaron Rodgers got hurt. I felt like I was chasing that one deficit to you the entire season until I finally caught up week 17, like always, right? So to me, that was crazy. I'm like, you know what? Can I possibly do this again? I'm picking against them again. If it, you pick the 49ers, so I don't have to worry about chasing that point. But that being said, I am curious about Breece Hall. I actually have my fantasy football draft on Sunday, I want to say it was. And Breece Hall went extremely high. He was actually, I think, the second or third pick in the draft. I did not select him, but I was like kind of stunned by that, right? So a lot of pressure on that young man's shoulders. And then Aaron Rodgers, there was so much talk about him coming back and playing like week 15 or 16 of last year, right? So whatever holistic idea he has going on seems to work. Who really knows? At the end of the day, I don't like the coach. I'm not a Robert Saleh fan. There's something about the guy that rubs me the wrong way. I know we talked about it last year as well. The Jets, prove it to me. I need to see it before I can buy in. I love Garrett Wilson. He was another high draft pick in our draft class this year for fantasy football. But again, all that being said, man, I do as I look over at the helmets again. I could see them easily finishing third, and I could also see them finishing first if Aaron Rodgers has the season of his life. If Breece Hall does what everybody says he's going to do, they could finish first. That defense is stout. It's a good defense.
Yeah.
A lot of things would have to fall their way for it to happen. It is a possibility. We don't know what we're getting from Buffalo. And like you said, Miami, and I looked at their schedule again this year, it starts off fairly easy and then always gets hard for them. It's weird how that works out for the Dolphins. Anything could happen. However, I think the 49ers are one of the best teams in football. I agree with you. We've talked about this many a time on the record, off the record, about Brock Purdy being a system quarterback. I agree with you. He is a system quarterback. Here's the problem. It's a pretty damn good system.
It's a great system.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. People have said I'm a system guy, right? So if it's a good enough system and it works, stick with it. Are the 49ers going to win the Super Bowl this year? I say it's a strong possibility. I don't know if I'm going to, come right out and say that just yet, but I think they need to win week 1. This is a big, big game for them. I think they're embarrassed again, losing another Super Bowl. They need this win pretty badly. They're somewhat healthy. By the way, McCarthy was my first pick of fantasy football for all you degenerates who really care about it. But still, that is, I think if C-Mac stays healthy, I think this team could be loaded this year, coming back stronger than ever. I don't see them blowing out the Jets.
Christian McCaffrey?
Yeah, I call him C-Mac.
You said McCarthy. I'm thinking J.J. McCarthy. He's out for the year. First of all, bad pick, but out for the year.
My fault. It's that first week rust, right? If there's one thing I know how to do, it's butcher a name. But no, all joking aside, I think the Niners should look strong and should win. So far, I believe we are 2 for 2 on the agreements.
Yeah, 2 for 2 on agreements, and we'll see with the Browns. So the Cleveland Browns, they are hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, that's going to be one watched by almost all of America for the most part, aside from the region that gets the Washington Commanders and Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, which is only around
Very long.
DC and down in Florida. The rest of the country, it looks like it's going to be Browns Cowboys. So for that one, Vince, are you going with the Browns to open up the season with a win, or is it going to be the Cowboys pulling it off on the road?
I'm all about tradition. I'm all about routine. I'm picking against the Cleveland Browns for the umpteenth year in a row. Gonna go with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, if you were to ask me who's gonna have the better season in the long term, I actually think the Browns might finish with a better record than the Cowboys. I kind of feel like the Dallas Cowboys coming into this season have their feet to the fire. To me, this is the blow up year. If they don't win a playoff game, if they don't compete in the NFC Championship game, perhaps the Super Bowl, Jerry Jones is blowing this puppy up. New coach, new quarterback, new everything. I could see him going berserk, right? The guy's not worried about eating salary cap money. But you have CeeDee Lamb coming back. You have such a potent offense. I don't know who's going to run the ball. I mean, I'll let you talk about their run game in a second. But if they could throw the ball 75% of the time, they should be pretty decent. I like their defense. I like a lot of things about Dallas. They're a good regular season team. Cleveland Browns, near and dear to our hearts. You can see the Cleveland stuff behind me. Clearly, everybody who's watched the show for 5 years knows we're both from Cleveland. That being said, they did nothing in this preseason. And again, preseason doesn't mean anything. I get that. But there was really nothing there that showed me anything I wanted to see, right? So that's number one. Number two, even with all the starters resting, it made me want to say, okay, I realize preseason is for the backups, but I would love to see something, right? I would love to see Jerome Ford go out there and break off a couple good runs, or maybe Watson get some snaps in that final game. That's very annoying to me. We're not gonna start the Deshaun Watson debate week one, but if this guy doesn't get off to a quick start this year, forget it already. So, going all the way back to when this started, you're not going to find two bigger Deshaun Watson fans than Cole and myself. You're not going to find two guys who wanted the Browns to draft him in 2017 more than Cole and myself. But this is the year that Watson has to do it. We have no running game. So let's see what Ford could do week one. Foreman kept getting busted up. He kept getting hurt. They cut him. He comes back. There's just been little to no stability with anything they've done. Again, I keep saying it's preseason. Who cares? But week one's going to be very interesting. And how healthy is Denzel Ward? We don't know. There's just so many question marks for the Cleveland Browns. I feel like the Cowboys are a sure bet this first week. So technically they're a 2-point underdog. I want to buy into that. Going to go ahead. I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys.
Well, I think that Deshaun Watson will have a better year this year, and I would think he'd be here for a long time. But if for some reason there's injury issues again, or he has a bad year, I'm just gonna toss this out here just to stir the pot a little bit. I mean, we do so much with high school football. Guess who is draft eligible here coming up?
Yeah, guy.
Medina's Drew Aller. So, you have to pay attention to him, and had a really good game for Penn State against West Virginia in the opening week. Everybody was sleeping on him last year. I blame more of the lack of wide receiver talent that they had last year. And I think Drew Aller is going to have a good year with the Penn State Nittany Lions. So, hey, if something goes wrong with Watson, you got a hometown boy that you could maybe look to if you're Cleveland. But
light this town on fire if that happened.
But anyway, when it comes to this game, if the Browns were on the road and at Dallas, I would probably go with the Dallas Cowboys. The thing is, I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns here at home because the Browns defense at home, they were the best defense by far and away last year every time they played at home. When they went on the road is when they started to show some holes and had some weaknesses. So, but they're at home again. And Cleveland Browns Stadium, now Huntington Bank Field or whatever they're calling it here at this point because of the naming rights. When they're at home, I trust that defense to make plays, to be able to stop the run, to be able to be effective as pass rushers, to be able to, at least in the secondary, make enough plays to slow down the receivers and make it difficult. So at every level, I trust this defense when they're at home and when they have the fans backing them. So against the Dallas Cowboys, you look at a backfield where they hardly have anything. Like, who's actually going to carry the rock? Is it Ezekiel Elliott? Is it Rico Dowdle? Is it Dalvin Cook, who they just brought in? They have Deuce Vaughn. I don't really even think they know what they want to do, to be honest. Bringing back Zeke was probably the move that they need to make because they didn't make any moves to get a rookie
Third
running
down
back. They should have brought in somebody in this draft, but they really didn't do that. So I think Rico Dowdle is going to be their main starter. Zeke's not a third down guy. He'll probably get some short yardage work. Who knows if Dalvin Cook at this point is going to get hardly any touches. Like, I don't think that they're going to have any success in the running back room. I think it's going to be easy for the Browns to stop them, which means it's all in the hands of Dak Prescott. And he's going to have to really focus on targeting CeeDee Lamb. If Ward is healthy enough, I trust Ward to slow down CeeDee Lamb. And then I trust MJ Emerson and Greg Newsome up against Jalen Tolbert and Brandon Cooks and those guys. Jalen Tolbert, I really like him. He's on my dynasty team in fantasy football. But this is going to be his first year as a full-time starter now as a wide receiver. He was a depth guy before. I trust the experience of the Browns secondary against those guys, and I don't think Dak's going to have quite the game that he needs to carry them to a victory. So I'm going Cleveland to open the year 23-19 against the Dallas Cowboys. Close ball game, but it's going to be a good one in front of all of America.
Was our split. All righty. First game different of the year. I'll say this real quick for Dallas's receiving corps, right? Boom or bust. I mean, I feel like the potential's there. They should have legs to get it done. CeeDee Lamb, all that contract talk appears to be settled in. If they could focus, they could be great. You mentioned Zeke, third down back at best. Never have I seen a guy go from, I'll use the term yet again, boom to bust, right? I mean, he was such a stud for so long.
Yeah.
And he just hit that mark. Sometimes running backs hit that wall. Kind of what happened with him. I don't really trust the running game. I love Dalvin Cook. I feel like his year last year, I believe it was with the Jets, was just completely wasted. So if he has anything left in his tank, I think he could be pretty dangerous.
We'll see. Could be a long year for them, though, when it comes to the running game. But in a weak NFC, at minimum, Dallas should still make a wild card spot. So,
especially in that division.
Yeah.
I'm just looking right now again. Yeah, I mean, the Eagles will be good again, but yeah, the other two teams are bottom tier.
Absolutely. Well, less than a minute left here as we're doing a short and 20-minute show here this year each week. We're going to get our upset pick. No explanation for the upset this year. We're just going to drop in our upset, and I am going with the Las Vegas Raiders taking down the Los Angeles Chargers.
Wow. Yeah, we agree on that. That wasn't my official upset pick, but I believe I had that same one. Also, I'm going to give you a double dip real quick. I have Pittsburgh over Atlanta, although don't be sold just yet on Russell Wilson. I still like Justin Fields, but Pittsburgh over Atlanta, and then Detroit. Wait, I already said Detroit over the Rams. My other upset pick of my double dip, Giants over Minnesota.
Interesting. So there you go. Well, that does it for the first week of the Climate Tech Inc. NFL Prediction Show. Vince, any final thoughts before we go?
No, let's do this. I am so pumped that it's back. Football time is the best time of year. Thrilled to have season 5. Going for the 5-peat is unheard of, but I'm up for the challenge.
Clearly, I need to get out to like a 10 or 12 game lead, because anytime I get a decent lead, Vince just chips away at it until the very end, and then he catches me right before the postseason. So this is the year I'm going to have to try to hold on, but I'm up for the challenge, and you can see the full list of picks on the website, keonsports.com, for everybody out there watching and listening to this. Thank you. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and we will be back with you next week.
Climatech is a full-service company. We install as well as service both residential and commercial products. We service furnaces, air conditioners, heat pumps, boilers, mini split systems, tankless hot water. We've got a good group of technicians that have been developed into a company culture that delivers a good degree of confidence to the customer and gives us a good product output. They want to take care of the customer and make sure that the customer is satisfied with their service. And when you've got non-stressed employees at your home, you're going to get a greater result from that service call or from that installation.
Our customer needs, comfort, and health are of utmost importance, and we strive to provide that to every customer within their budget. As we continue to grow, we remain focused on maintaining our high level of customer satisfaction.
When you hire Climatech, you're hiring a whole team of experts that have been in the business well over 80 years. If you're looking for a new install, if you're looking for just maintenance on your equipment, we are the company of your choice.